As of today, when I am recording this video, my girlfriend and I are moving to New York City from Houston, Texas. And so in this video, I will be going over our apartment hunting process, everything that happened, the apartments that we saw, and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, please be sure to like the video and stay tuned. But I am literally going to get right into it. So because my girlfriend and I are moving from Houston to New York City, we wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time to try and find our place. So we allowed it for 2 full weeks to go to New York City and apartment hunt. Now in hindsight, I don't think I would really recommend being there for 2 full weeks because from our personal experience, there were just a lot of days that we did not see any apartments, or there was a lot of days that there wasn't any action, wasn't any movement, because we was either waiting for responses, waiting for things to process, waiting for things to pop up. And so it was just a lot of down days in our experience. So what I would actually recommend, especially if you are moving to New York City and you live in another state, is that you gather a list of apartments that you really want to see, either through StreetEasy, Zillow, whatever website you want to use, and you try to schedule those for 2 days. So just knock out the viewings and knock out the tours back to back, like day to day. You want to schedule as many as possible. That way you've seen all the apartments that you really want to see, and if none of those work out, you still have a few more days throughout the week for the market to refresh, for you to see a few other things, and hopefully something will come up then. Because ultimately we saw all of these apartments in a total of like maybe 3 days, and we found our place from the bunch of those. And so I feel like being there for 2 full weeks, while it was nice because we had additional days in case we did need more time, but ultimately we ended up seeing multiple apartments within a few days and then made a decision from there. Some native New Yorker will probably be like, girl, that is terrible advice. You need way more than just a week to find your place. And that might very well be the case depending on your budget, the location that you want to stay in, and how flexible you are with what you want in an apartment. And so it really is dependent on what you want in an apartment, where you want to live, how much you want to spend. But like I said, from our personal experience, we saw a bunch of apartments throughout the course of a few days and found something. And so take that with a grain of salt and do with that what you will. So jumping right into what we wanted in our apartment. Now initially we was looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. We wanted to be flexible with the location. We really wanted to live in Upper Manhattan, but we were trying to be open to other areas like Queens, some parts of Brooklyn, but really was aiming towards Manhattan ultimately. We did want to prioritize an outside space, which I know for living in Manhattan that is very rare to come by, but it was really actually kind of top on our list, as well as like updated appliances, washer and dryer and unit. So full disclosure, we did work with agents, so a lot of the coordinating of like the timing, the emails, to talking to the listing agents back and forth was all handled through our representation, as well as some of the apartments that we did end up seeing was from what our agent sent to us. Now I will say that it was a partnership, that we were sending them listings that we saw that we were interested in, and they would schedule them, as well as they would send us stuff and we would tell them if we liked them or not, wanting to see them. So it was a team effort, but I just wanted to put that out there that we did work with 2 agents that was amazing throughout the entire process. Getting right into the first apartment that we looked at. This apartment was in a luxury building. We toured the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, but they actually did have a few vacant units. They had a bunch of 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, but obviously we was interested in a 3-2. Now that said, this apartment was a bit small. The rooms were tiny. Like, one of the rooms was just off of the living room and kitchen, but it was only separated by like a sliding door, which I guess would be like the main bedroom, because that was the room that had the biggest windows. But it was like so tiny. It would work great as like a flex space office area, but I think it was designed for the main bedroom. And then the other 2 bedrooms were also very tiny, and the way that they had the heater, I believe that it was set up, it kind of like was just an awkward layout. It had updated appliances, everything was brand new, no one had lived there before. The only other thing about this building was that it was right across from the PJ. So just from like a safety perspective of walking the block, walking our dog or whatever, we just would have to be on even more high alert than we already would be living in New York City. But this building did give us a lot of insight as far as what the luxury buildings in New York City, in Manhattan, was gonna be like. Now the amenities in this particular building was great. I believe they had a pool, they had a rooftop, they had lounge areas, work areas. And so as far as just like the perks and amenities of being in a luxury building, this building had that. And so it kind of like perked our little brains up of being like, maybe this luxury building lifestyle is kind of what we do want, but we was not sold on this particular unit. Now the next unit that we did see was another unit in a luxury building, and we fell in love with this building. Not necessarily the unit that we toured, but this building was just everything that we wanted out of a luxury apartment. So we actually ended up touring a 2-bedroom by 1 bathroom because they did not have any 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms available. And so the closest that we could have gotten from what we wanted was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We toured the 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom that was south facing, that had a view of Manhattan that was to die for. It was so beautiful. It made the living kitchen area feel so spacious, so open, because it just let in all of that light. We actually saw this unit when it was like raining, pouring down all day, and even then it was still giving vibes. And so we kind of just fell in love with this building, especially the amenities. It had one of the best gyms that we had seen, as well as ample amount of like working spaces, play areas. It had a dog spa, it had a yoga area. It just had a bunch of amenities that we was really considering downgrading and compromising some of our current furniture just to give or live that luxury building lifestyle, because we really did fall in love with the building. And if we could get a 2x2 south facing, we felt like we would have been winning. Moving right along to the next unit that we saw this day, it was actually a unit in Astoria, Queens. Now, y'all are going to, I don't even know. I don't even know how y'all are going to react to this unit, because I still think about this unit to this day. This was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in Astoria, Queens. The actual just neighborhood was like facing the park. I'm not sure which park it was facing, but like it was facing the park. Like you can look at the park right outside of the window. It was like so beautiful. The little neighborhood was so quiet and so upkept. And this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom was the most spacious New York City apartment that I have ever seen. When I tell y'all that we would not compromise any of our furniture there, like everything would fit and probably have room to grow within that apartment. It was just so spacious. The storage was there, the bathrooms were roomy, the closets were large, not to mention the parking. They had designated parking spots that was just $150 a month. $150 a month. If you think that is expensive, think again. Most parking, if available in any New York situation, is $400 and up. So for there to be designated parking spots for just $150 extra a month, you could not beat that. Not only that, there was additional storage in the basement of the building that I think you could rent out, like those little cages, for like another $100 a month. And not only that, the rent was stabilized. It was a rent stabilized apartment. I know y'all are hearing all of this and seeing this apartment and being like, okay, so this is where y'all are at. But we really had to consider the life that we would live if we was in Astoria, Queens. No shade to Queens, no shade to Astoria. But my girlfriend and I are coming from Houston and going into New York City. And ultimately, what we felt was that we would really be isolating ourselves in Queens had we ended up in that apartment. We would have had to commute back and forth to the city, one, not only for my girlfriend's job, but if we wanted to hang out in the city, if we wanted to meet up with friends, there was just no way that like the people that we do know in New York City or people that are visiting us would want to go from Queens into the city and then have to drive back or Uber back or catch a train. It was just like a longer commute that we felt like ultimately we would feel a bit isolated in that apartment. And when I tell y'all, like it was really like this apartment is like amazing. I felt like that apartment would be great for any family because it is just so quiet, so spacious, so like cost effective. Like everything about it was amazing, but ultimately we just did not want to make that commute from Queens. I'm telling y'all, I think about this apartment that it was rent stabilized, the parking was good, it was so spacious, everything. But at the end of the day, we wanted to be in Manhattan, and after long discussions, long considerations, we were just like, it just doesn't make sense for us to be in Queens when really we just want to be in the hustle and bustle of Manhattan. And so we sadly did not even apply to this apartment, but I just feel like whoever does get this apartment is going to be there and love it for years. Now, this next apartment that we saw was actually at the end of the day on this particular day, and this apartment really wasn't worth even seeing. We did not need to go here, but we was like, why not? Because it was a full brownstone pretty much. It was a 2-story duplex that they was renting out, but it was just so outdated. Nothing was upkept. It was very yellow. It needed a fresh coat of paint. The doors was very like jammy. The outside area, oh, this is why we ended up seeing this particular unit, because it did have that outside space. That space was just like ran down, was not kept up, like very nasty, icky. It was raining, like I said, all day that day, and like the outside area was pretty much flooded. And so we quickly saw this one and we quickly left because it just was not for us. And so that is all of the apartments that we saw on the first day that we did our tours. And so moving right along into the second day. Before we get into the second day of apartments, let me just break down the feelings of day one. So we went back into the hotel and was talking about all of the apartments that we had seen, and we pretty much convinced ourselves that we did like the luxury buildings, that we would not mind living in that second luxury building that we saw. But we also was still considering at the time the Astoria apartment. Ultimately, we did not end up applying to that one, but we also did want to keep our options open. And so pretty much after that second day, we got word that there was not a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom available for that unit for when we wanted to move in. And so we were just like kind of bummed out, as well as there was a bunch of listings of apartments that we really wanted to view, we really wanted to see, but they just was either already in contract, already rented out, that we just didn't even get to view a lot of apartments that was really interested in. And so there was about a day or two that we just did not see anything, and we just kind of got bad news of, yeah, the luxury building that we liked isn't probably going to work out, as well as the other listings that we really want to see. We probably wouldn't even be able to see those. And so we were feeling pretty down at this point after day one. We was hopeful right after we saw everything, like, okay, yeah, we have a few options. And then our joy went right away because nothing was working out or planning out the way that we thought that it would. And so the next day when we saw these other apartments, we wasn't really expecting much. We was pretty much bummed out, just going to see apartments just to see them because everything else had not panned out or gone our way. But when I tell y'all, we was actually pleasantly surprised. So this next apartment was also in Manhattan. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, and it was actually sitting on the market for a while. And so when we went to go look at it, we was like, it probably is not really giving, but it actually was not a bad unit at all. It was actually pretty spacious. The living area was pretty large, and all of the appliances was updated. It had a mini dishwasher, and it had washer and dryer. The bathroom was updated. The only thing was that it was a 2-bedroom, so there was the living area as well as a bedroom on the first floor. But then you go up a flight of steps, and then there was like what feels like should be listed as a flex space, because you could fit a bed in there, and it did have its own bathroom and closet, but it was just so awkwardly placed that you could use it as a bedroom, but really it was more so an office space, if you asked me. But up there, the reason why we saw this, because you guys know that we really wanted an outside space. We had access to not only our own private roof, but the shared roof as well. So we would have had an entire roof deck to ourselves, plus the other portion of the roof deck that everyone in the building had access to. So as far as outside space, this unit had a bunch of it. The only thing about this unit that we was not really vibing with was that we would have to sacrifice a lot of our furniture, because it didn't really have that second bedroom, less on a third bedroom. We really could not justify bringing another bed, another sofa, like another little like sitting area, another guest bedroom. We would really be sacrificing a lot of our furniture had we chosen this apartment. But the bedroom that it did have on the first floor was very spacious. It had double closets, and if that upstairs bedroom was a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit wider, it honestly could have worked out. But because of that, because that upstairs room wasn't really what we needed it to be, ultimately we did not go with this unit. But it really shocked us. Like, we was like, oh, this is not bad. This is actually a pretty decent unit. If this was like a roommate situation, they could easily make that work. Or if it was like one person that wanted their own bedroom and like an office area, perfect situation. So we was genuinely shocked as to why this unit was not just flying off the market. Anyway, obviously it did not work for us, and so we had to let this one go. But the second unit that we saw this day was actually the unit that we fell in love with. It had everything that we wanted in a New York City apartment. And so I'm not going to spoil it, because you guys will see this apartment once we move into it, because spoiler, we did get this unit. But this apartment was literally made for us. Like, we were dropped, gagged, shocked when we opened the door. We was like, is this seriously this apartment that we're looking at? Now, technically, this is a 2-bedroom apartment. However, it is so spacious. Everything was just remodeled, so we will be the first people living in the unit since it was remodeled. And when I tell you guys, it was perfect. I literally opened the door and was like, yes please, like, sign me up. Like, it didn't take us long to fall in love with this apartment. So because we had such a good day looking at this apartment, basically falling in love with it, we was keeping our options open just in case this one did not work out. So the following day, we got news that a 2-bedroom 2-bathroom came available in that luxury building. We saw it on Street Easy. The pictures looked amazing. We was like, oh, bet. It was a south-facing unit. Everything looked to be great. The only thing was that the listing agent was asking for a good faith deposit of $500. Us being hopeful, optimistic, being like, hey, let's not put all our eggs in one basket. Let's pay the good faith deposit of $500 just to secure something while we wait to hear back on the apartment that we really want. Because at the time, what me and my girlfriend was saying was that if we have a secure apartment in this building and we have to then choose from this unit, if we get it, then that is just a problem that is worth having. Like, we was like, this is two good things. We know that we have the ball in our court, basically, if we got approved for both. And so we was like, let's just go ahead and pay the $500, because we had seen the building. We saw a unit that we fell in love with. The amenities were great. The location was amazing. Like, everything was perfect. And so we're like, yeah, let's just go ahead, pay the $500. And after we paid that, the agent got with our agent and scheduled a viewing for that same day. Girl, we went to go see the 2-bedroom and 2-bathroom unit that they had listed on Street Easy, that they took our $500 to take off the market for. And it was a freaking disaster. The unit was occupied, but again, that is not uncommon. Typically the tenants are outside of the unit when you go see them and they're occupied, but in this instance, not only was it my girlfriend and myself that went to go see this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, but another couple was also there to see this same very unit that we just put $500 on, that should have taken this unit off the market. But we wasn't even really tripping on that part. We was like, okay, whatever. We paid our $500. If we really wanted it, it should already be ours, so their application isn't going to even affect it. But if y'all want to see it, y'all can see it. Cool. We wasn't even tripping on the other couple. So basically it's myself, my girlfriend, this other couple, so there's 2 other people, and the listing agent went up to this apartment, and it is basically a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment that is filled to the brim with just the belongings of like 3 Columbia students things. Like, I don't want to shade these people because obviously it is what it is. I'm not saying that they're in the wrong for any of this. But one, not only was the apartment that they listed on Street Easy not the apartment that we saw, it was not south facing. They listed the unit as being like a little over 1,000 square feet. It was less than 800. It was north facing. The unit was literally like filled to the brim with just stuff, and it was also 3 Columbia students, so it's like 5 people, and the 3 of them in this tight cramped space. We could not even walk, like we could not even maneuver throughout the space to even really give it a good vibe. Like, it was giving like, it was just such, like, you could not even focus on any one thing. It was so claustrophobic in there. Like, you could not basically, because I don't want to get worked out. Basically, my girlfriend and I politely excused ourselves and was like, we just wasted $500. We instantly felt like we were scammed, that we literally just gave these people $500 for literally no reason, because there was no way that we was going to go with this unit. The other couple literally was like, where's the unit that is pictured here on Street Easy? Because this is not it. They're supposed to be big windows. It's supposed to be south facing. It's supposed to be this and that. And this is not that. And so we was in the hallway just being like, this is such a scam. This good faith deposit of $500 just went right down the drain. Because we was working with agents, because we had representation, they handled it with the quickness. They got us our refund and basically was like, this is not gonna work out. And so we ended up getting our money back. But I would say that if you aren't going through agents, if you aren't going to have representation, that $500, if you would have paid that, probably just would have went straight to that company. And this company is actually known for doing shady shit like this. My girlfriend said that she actually was living in a unit that was owned by this company, and they're just shady. And so just beware that unless you see the unit, do not pay a good faith deposit, because they just are going to take your money. Do not pay a good faith deposit unless you have seen the unit, the exact unit that you're paying the deposit for beforehand. That is basically our entire apartment hunting process. I hope you guys got a little bit of insight of how this whole New York City apartment hunting goes. Hopefully I was helpful in any way. If not, at least a little bit entertaining. I don't know, girl. But we ended up getting an apartment, and if you do want to see it or just snippets of it, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because the New York City content is just on its way. It is coming, it is ready, it is prepared, it is edited, it is scheduled. And so yeah, thank you again for watching this video, but until next time, I'll see you guys in my next upload.